What's up, guys? Lord Nollan here, and today we're talking about One Piece. Now, I was watching a teching video about the Roger Pirates bounties and how these bounties were based off of the fact that they just knew Roger. He also said that Buggy's bounty would be going up, and that made me think. I was like, he doesn't even know where Laugh-Tale is, but the government doesn't know that. The world government doesn't know that Buggy doesn't know where Laugh-Tale is. Shanks, I'm sure, because of how he went about his pirate career after the Roger Pirates, you know, I'm sure they found out about his connection to Roger. Maybe the world government came to him, they tried to make him a warlord. He probably said no. They came to him and tried to see if they give him the information about Laugh-Tale, and he probably said no, even though he didn't know it. And in these times where they were trying to talk to Shanks, because I'm sure Shanks is a reasonable person as far as pirates go, he's pretty reasonable. Because he was cordial and all that, he made a rapport with the Marines. Now, I'm not saying he was working with them in any way that's like an agent for the world government. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is Shanks probably is using the government's misinformation, them thinking that he knows where Laugh-Tale is, to his advantage. I think that, you know, Shanks may not know where Laugh-Tale is, but he's making sure that Luffy has a fighting chance to get there. He wants Luffy to be the one to make it, but he can't coddle Luffy, or else he won't be ready when he gets there. The whole dynamic between Shanks and how he interacts with the rest of the world, I feel, is all for Luffy's benefit, without openly giving Luffy any advantages or disadvantages. He's just keeping the world from crushing him. And every now and then, whenever he sees a threat from the pirate world that the world government may not be paying attention to, like Blackbeard, he calls their attention to it, and he's like, yo, I know that you guys may not know this, but there's this blah 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 blah, and they're actually very dangerous. You need to, you know, step up your game. I'm not going to do anything. They haven't done anything to me, but seeing as how you guys are supposed to be justice, y'all need to take this. Y'all need to take care of this. This is y'all's job. So y'all handle that. And so Shanks probably leveraged his knowledge of Laugh-Tale many times to get him out of different situations. And in those situations, his rapport with the world government grew, leading to meetings with the Gorosei. And Shanks himself is a strong man. Like, even Kaido says he's strong. So even if they didn't, didn't believe that he knew where Laugh-Tale was and all this like that, he's just strong anyway. And he's a very influential pirate, and he's a very respectable pirate as far as pirates go. And he's a very cool-headed pirate. He doesn't just fly off the handle for no reason. When the Marines and Whitebeard pirates clashed, Ace was there, and Shanks met Ace before, and he knows that that's Luffy's brother, and he knows Luffy, and he knows Whitebeard, and he knows that Shanks is in danger. Luffy and Whitebeard are gonna show up there to stop the Marines from killing him, period. He knows how Luffy is, and he knows how Whitebeard is. He knows they're going. So if Kaido goes, it's more so that, less that it's gonna be danger for Whitebeard. They were on the same crew, but it's gonna be dangerous for Luffy, because Whitebeard's too old to stop Kaido from doing what he wants. Really, in all honesty, Whitebeard's too old to stop Kaido from doing what he wants. Kaido and Luffy in the same spot, pre-time skip, and Kaido sees Luffy's progression during this battle. Kaido recruits Luffy, And Luffy has there's nothing Luffy can do to stop Kaido from taking him. Like, period. I don't think Shanks went to stop Whitebeard or to save Whitebeard. I don't even think he went to save Ace. I don't think he went to stop the world government from collapsing. Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of, but not really. I don't think he cares that much. Like, I think he went there because he knew Ace is Luffy's brother and Luffy's gonna go. And if Kaido shows up there, Kaido takes Luffy back because Whitebeard can't stop him. The Marines can't stop him. Only Shanks. Shanks is one of the 5 people that can, and 3 of them people are dead. Because at the time, Whitebeard was still alive, and he would have been there, but he would have been occupied. So yeah, at the time, 3 of those people were dead. Obviously, all 4 now besides Shanks are dead, but like at the time, 3 of those people were dead. So he had to make sure Kaido doesn't ruin the future by getting his hands on Luffy. Because if he gets a hold of Luffy, I can almost guarantee you pre-time skip will break Luffy. Period. Like Luffy was not strong enough to withstand a Kaido encounter at that time. He was not ready. He couldn't even hit an admiral. There's no way he resists Kaido pre-time skip. And at the same time, knowing how Luffy and Whitebeard are, if Ace were to go down, or if Whitebeard were to go down, or if the Whitebeard pirates lose, Ace is there. I mean, Luffy's still there. If anybody out there that's stronger than Luffy or on his side loses, and Luffy's left there to try and fight for Ace, he knows Luffy won't leave. And at the same time, if he loses Ace, he knows Luffy has probably never handled the loss of somebody like that. Up until that point, nobody that Luffy truly cared about has died before. He's left, but that's part of his journey. He's like, oh yeah, well, at some other time in life we may see each other again. If not, I saved your island, I saved you, I helped you about your goal, whatever. Now be free and do what you want. That's Luffy's thing. He's like, him leaving somebody to go about their life is not hard for him, but him losing somebody, that's not the same. He's never done that before, especially not before Marineford. So not only would Kaido have gotten his hands on Luffy and had nobody there to stop him, but if Luffy were to have the side that he's on lose, he gets captured by the Marines. That's the end of Luffy. And if he loses Ace, he's at a huge disadvantage emotionally. And then he is open for, and especially knowing before the whole Dragon Sun exposing secret thing, he knew that the Marines were going to want to catch him because he set fire to one of their flags. He challenged the world government many, many times. He took out 2 warlords. The world government is going to go after this kid. And he knows he's not ready for no admirals. So regardless of how the Marineford War played out, Shanks had to be there to make sure Luffy makes it out of there. Period. He arrives for that sole purpose. He gave his arm for that sole purpose. He makes sure that the world doesn't descend into chaos for that sole purpose. He does not care about nothing else. He knows Luffy has to make it. He's willing to talk to the Gorosei, even though that's not what pirates do. He's willing to talk to Whitebeard about, making sure Ace is okay, because that's Luffy's brother. Like, yo, you need to call Ace back because, he's not ready for Blackbeard. This is what Blackbeard did to me. Like, he gives him reasons that Whitebeard would care about. Whitebeard don't care about Luffy at all. He ain't never met Luffy. He ain't never seen Luffy yet. He doesn't know anything about Luffy. He needs to experience Luffy firsthand himself. He can't be introduced by Shanks, because then that's giving notoriety to Luffy he didn't earn. Luffy needs to earn that on his own. He can't go about telling people about Luffy that don't know about him, because 1, that's going to bring attention to him if a Yonko's talking about him. 2, he didn't earn the clout to be talked about by a Yonko yet. This is pre-time skip Luffy. He's not at the level of Yonko's spreading his name. And 3, like, you can't if you're trying to make sure that somebody reaches their goal or whatever, you don't tell people that are potentially gonna be their rivals at some point that, oh, you better look out for that guy, because then they snuff that fire out early, or they're prepared for it. They're like, oh, so there's this kid out there, huh? All right, let's look into that. Now they've studied up about this kid. Now they know about him a little bit more. Now they're out there looking and watching him, seeing like, oh, okay, so this is what's gonna happen when he shows up here. Like, now they're ready. You putting Luffy at a disadvantage now. So he's not gonna tell Whitebeard. He's not gonna tell anybody, because he knows that Luffy needs time to build. Shanks, when he heard Kaido was going, he didn't bat an eyelash to take on Kaido. He didn't bat an eyelash to stop a war and make sure that nobody killed Luffy. He makes sure that Luffy's okay without interfering with Luffy's journey, because he knows that's not his business. Luffy has to go about his own. He has to go about his own thing. He has to grow on his own. And potentially Blackbeard may be a enemy that's too big for him, so he tried to get him out of the way so that when it's time for Luffy, Blackbeard's not there to obstruct his future. Now, the fact that all these other things happened, Shanks couldn't have foreseen none of those things. He couldn't have foreseen the warlord system being broken. He couldn't have foreseen that Blackbeard would have 2 devil fruits. He couldn't have foreseen that that the Revolutionary Army would be at the Reverie. He couldn't have foreseen Kaido and Big Mom joining forces. There's a lot of things that Shanks doesn't know about, and couldn't have predicted. But in every step he takes, he tries to make sure that Luffy has a fighting chance. Not an advantage, but he has a fighting chance. And every obstruction that gets in the way of that, he makes sure to either, get rid of it, stall it until Luffy's ready for it, or try and find a way to aid him without, overtly aiding him. And that's why I feel like Shanks isn't necessarily gonna be in the One Piece story very often. He's not gonna be in One Piece like main story, like meeting up with people that and this and that, and we're not gonna see him very often, because he's in the background trying to make sure that Luffy survives to fulfill his destiny, his fate, or whatever you want to call it. Luffy's there to bring the dawn, and Shanks is there as part of the preparations for when the dawn comes. So Shanks is he's like the silent shadow investor, the ghost investor that's making sure that the dawn keeps progressing to the point where Roger would be proud of the world that Luffy makes, to the point where Luffy is not getting snuffed out before he can make it, to a point where the world doesn't crumble into chaos before Luffy can make it. He's simultaneously making sure the world doesn't destroy itself, and that Luffy doesn't die, without actively being the one to stop most of these things. Now, Marineford War, he had to jump in, but he did so in a way that it didn't seem like he was helping Luffy. It just seemed like, yo, there's been too much death, y'all, it's time for this to stop now. It wasn't, yo, Luffy's my homie, y'all gotta let him go, stop all this fighting. It was, there's been too much death, just stop it now. Like that, in the back of his mind, he's got to get Luffy out of there. Ace is gone, he can't do nothing about that, but he's got to get Luffy out of there. Whitebeard's gone, he can't do nothing about that, but he's got to get Luffy out of there. But to everybody else that was there, he was just there to make sure that the world didn't, end that day. He was there to make sure that the world government itself was still around, that the pirates didn't take over, or that the Whitebeard pirates didn't get crushed to oblivion and all that stuff, because the world still needed that balance. The world still needed that, the world still needed to have the Marines there, because a world where pirates take over without Luffy at the head is drastically different than if he is at the head. And at the same time, a world where Luffy dies is a world that is not gonna see the dawn that Roger wants. So he made sure that, one, the Marines weren't crushed, two, Luffy escaped. And you know, he made sure that the people that were there didn't think he was there for Luffy. The world was watching, the Marines were watching, Whitebeard's crew was watching. He was making sure that, you know, nobody necessarily connected his old, decades old connection to Luffy, because that would have drawn too much attention to him. It would have made him too big of a target too early. 2 years before he even had Gear 4 or knew how to use hockey, he would have been dead. He'd have been dead. He'd have been so dead. They would have been hunting him for them 2 years. They'd have been hunting him. So I think all of Shanks' behavior could be explained by the fact he's doing it to make sure Luffy grows on his own and doesn't die too early. Everything he's done, this entire story, everything, is so that Luffy grows on his own and he doesn't die early. And that being said, I think that is the secret to who the character Shanks is. Nollan Out.